Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the fascinating psychology behind why our most ambitious goals always seem to fall apart, and more importantly, how to actually fix that pattern. Look, we all admire success, right? We celebrate the medals, the big promotions, the massive transformations. But we almost never look at the lonely mornings and the thousands of ordinary, unglamorous decisions that literally make those moments possible. So, if you've ever struggled to stick to a new habit, you are in exactly the right place. Let's dive right in by asking a question we've all probably agonized over around, say, mid-February, right after ditching those New Year's resolutions. Why does motivation always fail? Seriously, what if everything we've been taught about relying on inspiration or waiting around for that sudden, magical burst of energy to get things done is just completely backwards? To figure this out, let's look at the story of a guy named Arjun. Now, Arjun fell right into the classic motivation trap. You know the one. Every Monday morning or every January 1st, he basically tried to buy his way into success through sheer, sudden enthusiasm. He'd go out and buy the expensive notebooks, download a dozen new productivity apps, which he'd probably never open twice, let's be real, stay up watching midnight motivational speeches, and rigorously plan out every single hour of his day. And hey, for a few days, he felt totally unstoppable. But the inevitable crash always comes. Because as we all know deep down, that initial high never lasts. The excitement slowly drains away. One missed workout silently turns into 3, one skipped study session snowballs into a whole week of doing absolutely nothing. Ultimately, feelings are temporary. And when that burst of excitement vanishes, Arjun is just left with half-filled notebooks, unfinished dreams, and a completely shattered sense of confidence. It's a rough spot to be in. Well, Arjun's entire perspective shifts one rainy evening. He's walking home after yet another disappointing job interview, and he spots an older man calmly sweeping the entrance of a small library in the middle of a massive downpour. Arjun is just baffled. He asks the man why on earth he's working so hard when the rain is just going to make everything dirty again anyway. The old man, whose name is Dev, simply smiles and delivers this profound perspective shift. Tomorrow the rain may return, but today my job is to sweep. It's such a powerful introduction to the whole concept of duty and action over changing circumstances. Intrigued by this, Arjun returns the next day to meet Dev, who, as it turns out, is a retired psychology professor. When Arjun confesses that he's just overwhelmingly tired of failing because he's been desperately chasing motivation his entire life, Dev drops this absolute mic drop realization. Then you've been chasing smoke. Dev uses a physical metaphor here that just makes it all click perfectly. Motivation, he explains, is like an unprotected candle placed right near an open window. Yeah, it burns incredibly brightly at first, but the second a gust of wind or life's inevitable discomfort enters the room, that flame dies instantly. Discipline, on the other hand, is like that exact same flame but covered by a heavy glass lantern. The lantern protects your actions. The flame just keeps on burning, even when the wind howls and your positive emotions completely abandon you. It's at this moment Arjun realizes he's been relying on fleeting feelings instead of solid, protected systems. To prove this psychological truth, Dev gives Arjun a really strange, highly specific assignment, and this assignment is to last for exactly 30 days. Now, the crucial point here is that Dev explicitly forbids a massive, exciting lifestyle overhaul. He tells Arjun, do not try to change your entire life. Change only one single action. Wake up every morning at exactly 6 a.m. That is it. When Arjun begs to add in the gym or reading or meditation, because, we all want to do everything at once when we get inspired, Dev firmly says no. No extra habits. Just aggressively simple, unglamorous obedience to the alarm clock. So how does it go? Well, day 1 of this challenge is easy. Honestly, it feels almost too simple. But by day 5, it's getting harder. Arjun almost hits the snooze button. And day 10? Day 10 is completely miserable. The excitement is totally gone. There's no inspiration, no dramatic movie soundtrack playing in the background. There's literally nothing but the harsh, annoying ring of the alarm clock. But pushing through that exact misery is where the magic actually happens. It leads right to day 30, where the alarm is simply obeyed without any emotional debate whatsoever. At the end of those 30 days, Dev looks at Arjun and asks him a simple, incredibly pointed question. Did motivation wake you up every morning? Arjun replies, no. When Dev asks what did, Arjun doesn't even know. Because inspiration had absolutely nothing to do with his success. And this brings us to a massive realization. Dev explains to Arjun that discipline isn't a punishment, not at all. It is the act of proving to your own brain that your conscious decisions are in charge, not your momentary comforts or feelings. Think about it. Every single time you act against comfort, you are actively training your mind. Over the following months, Dev helps Arjun slowly add new habits, building them up brick by brick. And they are incredibly modest. 10 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of exercise, 1 hour of focused work. None of these habits are dramatic, none of them make for exciting, viral social media posts, and no one is giving Arjun a round of applause for doing them. But every small, unremarkable promise he keeps to himself builds an absolutely unshakable foundation of character. Now you might be wondering, just as Arjun did, how does this actually work? How could forcing yourself to do things you genuinely do not want to do ever actually get easier over time? Dev explains this visually by drawing two intersecting paths in the sand. On side one, we have the smooth path. It's comfortable, it's easy, and it is chosen by most people every single day because, well, it feels good in the moment. On side two is the path of stones, difficult, uncomfortable, and chosen only through deliberate discipline. Dev explains that the smooth road becomes weaker in your mind when you stop walking on it, while that difficult road of discipline becomes stronger and wider simply because your mind keeps using it. While Dev uses this beautiful metaphor of paths in the sand, we know this is simply neuroplasticity in action. Our brains are constantly building physical neural highways toward our repeated behaviors. By practicing discipline, you are quite literally teaching your brain which road should become the automatic default. You are rewiring your own biology through your repeated struggles. How wild is that? Fast forward a few years and look at how this reliance on systems over feelings entirely transforms a life. Arjun eventually earns the career he had dreamed about for years, and it wasn't because he suddenly found the perfect morning routine or stumbled upon the perfect motivational quote. It was because his actions became completely immune to his changing emotions. He worked when he felt energetic, and he worked when he felt tired. He studied when he was confident, and he studied when he doubted himself. His emotions constantly shifted up and down, but his habits stayed firmly in place. One evening, years later, Arjun returns to that small library. The entrance is perfectly clean, but Dev is gone. However, the librarian hands Arjun a small notebook that his old mentor left behind. Inside is this absolute powerhouse of a realization. The successful never win because they always feel motivated. They win because they refuse to negotiate with their excuses. Ultimately, letting go of the desperate, exhausting wait for motivation is not a punishment. As Arjun realizes looking at the sunrise that day, discipline is the ultimate freedom. It is freedom from laziness, it's freedom from fear, and most importantly, it is freedom from constantly waiting for the perfect moment to finally begin your life. Motivation might be what starts a journey, but discipline is the only thing that finishes it. So, I leave you with this final thought to chew on. Are you going to keep waiting around for the wind to stop blowing? Or are you ready to finally build your lantern?